What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. And we have a special podcast for you guys every Friday starting today. I'd like to welcome you all to the very first episode of the Friday Night Knicks podcast. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Donald Stewart, from the Boys of the Big Apple podcast. Obviously, we do it together, but this is just going to be the two of us. Every Friday, we'll be going into Knicks stuff. Deep dives, recaps. I have plenty of film for you guys, clips, player grades, previews. We're going to here's how we'll break this down. Here's how tonight's going to go. First, we're going to give our opening thoughts, a little bit of our opening thoughts on the previous game, which was Wednesday night. Then we will be recapping the game itself. I have breakdowns and takeaways from each quarter. I have some clips that I did over the course of today, did so over a couple of hours. Then we're going to get into player grades, how each player graded out and played, and we will add what we liked from that player and what could the player improve on for the next game. Then we'll be previewing tonight's matchup, the Chicago Bulls against the New York Knicks. Again, game 2 of 2 in Chicago, as obviously they played Wednesday night. We'll do a team stats comparison, players to watch for both teams, and a little bit of predictions. Who will score the first basket for each team, scores, stuff like that. And then we'll look ahead at the schedule for the New York Knicks, some of the more important upcoming games, with a little bit of team stats comparison as well. And then we'll answer your guys' questions. So appreciate anybody that's on here right now. We're trying to share out as possible, but I got to hand it to my co-host. Donald, how are you feeling?
My man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
This is exciting. This is our very first Friday Night Knicks podcast. So this is just for our Knicks fans, because we'd be doing the Boys in the Big Apple, and we'd have some Knicks fans in the chat, and we don't have enough time to interact with them. So this is our time to give to you guys. So any questions you guys have, any thoughts, any ideas, we will be happy to listen. So it's great to have a good start here. We got MH in the chat. What is up, MH? This is beautiful. I completely agree. This is beautiful. I'm rocking and rolling, ready to go. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll say this. Donald is actually thought of this idea, and we were discussing one day. He's like, maybe we just have a stream of Knicks content creators, and then he was like, the next week, maybe we actually do a Knicks podcast. So it's not just gonna be us all the time. Like, me and Donald have planned out some guests we want to do. We have time frames, all this different things. But Donald, let me get your opening thoughts on last night's game against the Chicago Bulls. I'm sorry, it was Wednesday night. I'm sorry.
Wednesday night's game, yeah. Well, when we played, we did our normal third quarter of doom, but apart from that, we played really well. The first half was great. We dominated. And in the fourth quarter, we matched them. And in overtime, it was the Jalen Brunson and Quentin Grimes show.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to pull up the box score over here real quick, and then we're going to dive right into the film and some of my takeaways. So here's how I've done this. I've made a clip video for the first quarter, the second quarter, and the rest of the second half. So I'm going to move right into this. I just got to share this real quick, share this with the screen. What's going on, Daniel Berry Sports? Appreciate you being here. Guys, please share this out, like, comment, subscribe. Do all the good stuff. So I'm just trying to look to share this video file. Just give me 1 second here. Here we go. First quarter, Knicks versus Bulls. Add to the stream right here. We're going to pause real quick. So we've watched the whole game. Donald, what were your thoughts in the first quarter? I thought the Knicks set a very good tone.
They've been doing that since Tom Thibodeau has shortened the rotation. That was the start of how things have gotten better for us. Shortened the rotation, and we've come back with better energy since the rotation's been tighter. The general play's been tighter. There's been a better emphasis on defense. And that's how it starts. I mean, this is a Tom Thibodeau team. It always is going to start with defense. And the defense has been generally better. And it's been carried forward with the bench, who obviously all especially focus on defense, especially Miles McBride.
Yeah, and I think you highlighted it on a Monday, like when we were talking, They've kind of veered towards a direction. They're playing with the kids. They're winning with the kids. You obviously got
Mm.
Quentin Grimes in the starting lineup. You have R.J. Barrett. You have Mitchell Robinson. And you have Miles McBride taking up major minutes along with Manuel quickly off the bench. So it's been very good. So I'm going to go through some of my takeaways. I thought the offense was in a very nice rhythm with the ball movement on the very first possession with the Julius Randle 3. Even on some misses, I thought Jalen Brunson and Randall collapsed the perimeter defense very well. So we're gonna watch this first clip. It's Mitchell Robinson offensive rebound and a Quentin Ryan Grimes cut and dunk, just showing the rhythm of what the offense looked like. Here we go. Grimes misses the 3. Mitchell Robinson looking around to pass, cutting Quentin Grimes to the dunk.
That's an asset that Grimes has, man. He's such a good cutter off the ball. He's as good off the ball as he is on the ball.
Yeah, he just adds that, again, as Donald said, adds pretty much the feature that nobody else has in this starting lineup. You don't see a lot of cutting off ball. There's ball movement, of course, when the offense is really rolling, but overall, cutting is not a major factor. As Grimes, again,
Beautiful pass.
Beautiful pass, beautiful cut. Give credit to Mitchell Robinson. He had a ton of rebounds yesterday. So another open clip, as I said, even on misses, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson did a good job collapsing the perimeter defense, leaving some uncontested threes. So we're going to go with the first collapse of the perimeter defense. This is Julius Randle dishing to R.J. Barrett for an open 3. Randle one-on-one against Caruso. Caruso was very good yesterday defensively. He was a pest.
Especially against Randle.
So here we go. Grimes cuts. He does not see Grimes. So now what's going to happen is this is Zach LaVine. LaVine is going to try to double Randle with Caruso. It's kind of a triple team technically. And Randle finds the dish to Barrett for 3. And he did that a lot yesterday, Donald. You got to give him credit. Did a lot of dishing for those open 3s, whether they were made or not. So good job.
Well, it was smart. It was smart because the defense were collapsing in on him in the paint. But he was smart. Often he used to triple, like spinning a triple teams. He's now keeping his head up, and he sees the open man, and he's able to dish to the perimeter while the defense is collapsed on him, which means that there's going to be an open man out, and he finds it. So that's been better from Randle this year. Much better.
Watch it again. Caruso. Listen, Randle's game is basically bully ball around the paint, which, helps him out. He has more strength than Caruso. LaVine goes to double. Barrett open 3. Yes. And Barrett, I think, I got the box score right here. RJ Barrett was 4 of 7 from downtown. You got to give him credit. He hit his open 3s when needed. So we're going to see another collapse of the perimeter defense. You got Grimes, Randle, Robinson, Barrett in the corner, and Brunson up top against Caruso. So Robinson's going to come with a screen. Not really much set. Brunson carries not one but 2 defenders in Vucevic and Caruso. Randle cuts the top, which is a very good sign, leaving Randle just wide open 3. Going to watch that again. Move it back a little. Brunson at the top of the key. Taken one-on-one. Robinson actually moves back. He does not set the screen. He actually rolls to the basket, so possibly it could have been an open opportunity, but Williams actually stays in the paint, leaving Randle open for 3. Just a great collapse of the defense, and overall kind of a misstep by Chicago, specifically Vucevic and Alex Caruso. So you have that. Here's another collapse of the defense. This time by Jalen Brunson. Brunson one-on-one, pass to Grimes, kick out to Brunson. Mitchell Robinson's going to come with another screen. Brunson goes around left, then swings back right.
Oh, look at
collapse.
That.
Now he has 2 defenders waiting. Finds R.J. Barrett, but R.J. Barrett actually misses. One of his 3 misses from 3 on the night.
But that was great because he had 2 open options there. He had either Randle or he had R.J. Barrett wide open.
But you see,
it all came from his creativity off the dribble.
You see, though, when Mitchell Robinson's heading towards the paint, DeRozan actually is going to take defense of him. because that could have very much been a possibility as well, where Brunson could have passed to Robinson in the paint, where Robinson could have dished out to Barrett, but Brunson does it outright in a very smart play. But unfortunately, he misses. So moving with that, after that, the Bull again. This was kind of a little panic mode. The Knicks had a very good run in the first quarter for the most part, but the Bulls kind of came back, Donald. After the Bulls went on a 6-0 run, I did the math while I was watching the tape. After a Mitchell Robinson lapse on transition D, Patrick Williams, I think it was, hit a wide open three after a miss by Robinson in the paint. It was off an offensive rebound. And here's one of the other misses. This is some very good ball movement by the Bulls. DeRozan gets around. No, this is, by the way, this is actually a very good defensive play. I actually kind of missaid the clip. So DeRozan in the mid-range, that's his heaven. One of the best mid-range shooters in all of the NBA.
Yep.
DeRozan, Barrett falls behind, but Barrett's off on-ball defense causes the little deflection, which allows Mitchell Robinson to switch up, take Vucevic one-on-one. Vucevic hands to Caruso. Brunson actually goes under the screen instead of over the top. Not less affected. Caruso passes to Grimes, may actually forces the misstep. Grimes takes it, which would be a transition take foul. So very confident in the switching early on. Let's watch that again. The deflection causes Mitchell Robinson to switch back up. Back to Caruso. Brunson goes under the screen. And the pressure just forces Caruso to make a mistake. So let's watch this clip. Randall, Robinson to Brunson. Brunson collapses the paint. Kicks out Grimes for three. Yes. And, I got to say this. Absolutely textbook. When I'd say the first half, like a little bit of the second half too, the defense in the paint for the Bulls was very penetrable. Vucevic is not a very good paint defender.
No, he's not.
The only good defenders they had in their starting lineup was Caruso and Patrick Williams. Levine's not a good defender. DeMar DeRozan is not a great defender. And the Knicks just exposed the weaknesses. We'll obviously talk about what happened in that second half when it came to what adjustments the Bulls made. And boy, Donald, did they make adjustments. And the Knicks also kind of faltered, shooting themselves in the foot many times. We'll talk about it as well. So here is the play I was talking about in which it was a part of the 6-0 run the Bulls had. So DeRozan tries to lose RJ Barrett, passes out to Vucevic. Look at the cut here by Caruso. Finds the open Zach LaVine for three. Textbook playmaking and ball movement. We're going to watch that again. DeRozan passes out to Vucevic. Brunson completely blind to the cut made by Caruso here. Two defenders collapse. You see Randall trying to defend the shot, and Grimes comes over as well, over pursuing, leading to a Zach LaVine three. Now, I have a question about this. Do you think that Grimes would have been better staying over squarely at LaVine?
Oh, of course, yeah. I prefer that, but it happens from time to time on play to play. But in general, Quentin Grimes was awesome on defense all game long.
Yeah, no question about that. So we talked about that. Nikola Vucevic, a lot of people are praising Mitchell Robinson's play yesterday. He did have a ton of rebounds. Robinson,
he battled on the boards, man, especially in the fourth quarter. A lot of second chance opportunities.
He had 8 points, 10 rebounds, and assists. We obviously showed the assist on the Quentin Grimes cut. But one thing that kind of doesn't go unnoticed, Vucevic was 4 for 4 in the paint in the first quarter against Mitchell Robinson.
Right.
So that's, again, Vucevic, that's where he feasts. He can feast from downtown as well. But it's just kind of a learning experience for Robinson. That's kind of one little knock against him. He had a very solid game, I'll admit that. And one thing, Donald, that was both teams really couldn't control this. They could have, but there was a constant whistle throughout the game.
Yeah, it was. So I got some stats here
Okay.
to get an idea of how the game went. So the Knicks' real domination was on the boards.
Of course.
56-36. That is a huge differential. And the Knicks had more second chance points, 20-9. So the the advantage on the boards led to more second chance opportunities, and that's how
Right.
we really won the game. And also, the Knicks were overwhelmingly superior from three,
Of course.
52.9%, 52.9% to 32%. So 18 threes to the Bulls 9. And the Bulls struggled to hit from three all game long, and the Knicks did a good job hitting over 50%. Is absolutely what you want. We're not exactly known necessarily for 3-point shooting, but it
More than
helps when
actually.
it helps when you have guys that are penetrating into the paint, waiting for the defense to collapse, and then you dish it out to the perimeter. So we've already seen some of those clips. We've seen that from Brunson going to the paint, dishing. We've seen Randall go into the paint, dishing, and that's good. It's keeping your head up, high IQ basketball. Now the Knicks did get outscored in the paint, 58-42. More fast break points for the Bulls, but it was still a very paltry number, 16-14. I mean, this is in general, this is the Knicks are a half court offense, but they have sped things up lately.
Right.
But the key was obviously Jalen Brunson. He had 30 points, 7 assists. He was 11-21 from the field, and he was 3 of 6 from 3-point range. I thought Jalen Brunson was terrific all game long.
Yeah.
What was your key moment of the game?
Well, let me go off your comments regarding the points in the paint. That really never had an effect on the game because I think in the fourth quarter, that's one of my takeaways. It was a shootout. It
Right.
was basically mid-range shots, 3-point shots, whatever. And there was a lot of whistles, so not a lot of featured in the paint. There was a lot of important moments in the game, but I'd say obviously overtime was probably the most important. Um,
Yeah.
We'll get into this more in depth, but the ISO possessions in the fourth quarter with Randall were not my cup of tea. I thought the Knicks
No.
got a little too comfortable with that, and I thought the Bulls basically, I know jumping ahead to the fourth quarter, they were basically licking their chops whenever they had an ISO because nobody was cutting. Even if then they froze the cuts, they were watching behind their backs and in front of them. So and the Bulls are a top defense. They are 7th in the league.
Yeah, the last possession in the fourth quarter, it kind of it was not well executed. Randall held on the ball too long. He didn't move. He wasted far too much time off the clock, and then by the time he got into his motion, he had very little time to succeed, and he settled for a contested fadeaway corner jumper, which could have been so much better had they actually planned out a proper play. I didn't really understand why the game plan was just. I think it was like 10 straight plays. It was just right through Randall, right down the stretch.
It was very consistent down the stretch.
Randall had a great game though, but he had a great game when he was within the within the offense. Exactly, he was playing within the offense. That's when he was at his best. When he's just going ISO mode, ball handler, that's when you see negative Randall. So for me though, obviously the key to the game. It started with Robinson's block on Vucevic's post-up attempt, right? And then set up the Knicks on the other end. And then Randall obviously got the possession. He was triple-teamed, but he dished to Quentin Grimes. And that the three-pointer that hit the front rim, then bounced in, put the Knicks up 6 with a minute to go. That pretty much secured the game. So that was a clutch bucket from Grimes.
Of course. So Daniel Berry says, Julius Randle's underrated. Brunson cross Caruso. Yes, I clipped that on Twitter. We're going to show that. We're also going to show Caruso dusting McBride, but Jalen Brunson got his teammates back. Anyway, so underrated. Go Knicks. What's going on, Alex Prime Sports as well, guys? I appreciate you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Any other takeaways? I said the Bulls finished the first quarter on a 13-6 run. Knicks offense became stagnant towards the end of the first quarter, and also Isaiah Hartenstein, I mean, he had a hell of a bad game, man. There's not a lot of good. We'll obviously dissect, but there's a lot of bad from his game. And he just seemed unplayable.
I prefer Sims. I think Sims should be
No, I
getting
do
his
too.
minutes.
I do too. So here we go. Let's see. Let's see what clip is next. We obviously had the made three here by Zach LaVine. Just perfect ball movement. So let's move into this. Next clip here. Got the Knicks half court offense. This is with Hartenstein, Brunson, and Randall. Brunson hands to Randall. Randall drives to the dish. Very good. But why is Hartenstein like just almost right in the middle there? It kind of screws up the spacing. But Hartenstein luckily gets the rebound and puts it back in. So we're going to watch that play again. All right, just move back a little bit. Brunson, Hartenstein, you got quickly as well. RJ Barrett came out after his first foul. Quentin Grimes and Julius Randle at the top. Give to Randle. Randle going right to the rack. Hartenstein puts it up and in. But I'd rather Hartenstein move more to his left, where at least Randle can have, if he's like feels the look is too contested, where he can just dump it off to Hartenstein. He put it back in. But not a great concept of spacing there by Hartenstein. He also had two ridiculous fouls towards the end will show. So we already showed that. Let's go into this clip. I think this is going to be one of the Hartenstein fouls. Half-court offense. Yeah, this is going to be the Patrick Williams one. LaVine brings it up. Screened by Williams. LaVine's going to take Randall one-on-one. LaVine takes the mid-ranger. Poor concept of rebounding by the Knicks. And Williams just bullies Hartenstein.
Yeah, that wasn't great for Hartenstein at all. He didn't box out.
And when LaVine made that shot, Hartenstein should have rushed over for the rebound. Obviously, they're not trying to knock the guy over, but just an ill concept by Hartenstein. Not great awareness. And I understand Hartenstein's, in that defensive stance, but how do you allow yourself to get bullied by Patrick Williams? I know Williams is no scrub, but just gets out tough in there, even to add with the foul. So not a great stuff there. Let's go to the defensive side again. Kobe White on the drive allows. Now, this eventually led to a quickly steal. I'm just going to move this back a little bit. White on the drive. Hartenstein's playing fundamental hands-up defense, but Drummond could have easily cut to the basket, and he does that, but he luckily passes out, and which allows Emmanuel Quickly for the steal. So not great eye on his defense. Not great eye on his matchup. Very lucky that Drummond didn't toughen up and doesn't have better quickness in which he could get to the basket quicker. So not great play, but from Hartenstein. But great hands from Emmanuel Quickly. I don't think he had – I'll just say this. I don't think Quickly particularly had a very good game, but there were some moments where he did shine, and that was one of them. So moving to that, we're going to move to the second quarter. Second quarter of Knicks Bulls. And we're going to pause it right here. Donald, what were your thoughts in the second quarter?
Well, that's when the Knicks really pressed their advantage because they built a double-digit lead. They were playing well, moving the ball well. And a lot of it came from Miles McBride. I thought McBride had a really good game in many ways.
So I'm going to start off with the first takeaway. Whistles became an early sound heard in the second quarter. DeRozan fouled RJ Barrett inexplicably, and Barrett did the same to DeRozan. Barrett obviously fouled out. We'll get into that as well. The Knicks, I'm not going to lie, I just made my comments on IQ not having the greatest game, but he did. The Knicks found their groove offensively and defensively with him in control when he's playing in control. So this one is the Jericho.
What's up, Jeffrey? How are you doing, man?
What's going on, Jeffrey? So this is the Jericho Sims lob. Let's watch the action here. Pause real quick. We have Emmanuel Quickly at the top, Deuce McBride and RJ Barrett on the right side, Hartenstein on the left. Obviously, the Knicks prefer to play Hartenstein at the power forward, if not center position. Obviously, Obi Toppin is injured. So watch what's going to happen. You would think that McBride would be cutting to the basket with Jericho Sims with the screen. RJ Barrett comes out of the corner to screen DeMar DeRozan. And what happens is Jericho Sims gets free. So watch that again. RJ Barrett with the screen allows Jericho Sims to get free. Just terrific stuff. That height, that leap you cannot teach. So very, very good find by Quickly. Very good play call by the Knicks right there. We mentioned that. Deuce McBride, as you said, Donald, popped with 2 3-pointers in the quarter, and one was off a block by Sims. But I gotta reference a good old Clyde Frazier quote: "Defense can be your best offense." So we have the half court setting here. It's 33-31 Knicks early in the second. You have Kobe White, Andre Drummond as well. In the corner, I think, is Goran Dragic. I'm going to watch here as Derek Jones Jr. misses a three, quickly brings it up the court.
Derek Jones cannot shoot
No, he can't. But for a wing player, he can't shoot. He can't.
No.
Quickly brings it up. This is one of his, like, as I said, he didn't have a very good game. He had some bad decisions. Here's one. Going right into the teeth of the defense, just getting blocked, even though he had R.J. Barrett in the corner, or at least on the wing. So Knicks are lucky to get an offensive rebound. Barrett, one-on-one against DeRozan, switch out to Hartenstein, again, jump pass. The Knicks love doing, despite, the Knicks being on a 5-game winning streak, Donald, that jump pass has not gone away.
They might have learned that from Randall.
Randall, quickly, Barrett, everybody's doing the jump pass. So Hartenstein feeds, kicks out to Quickly. Everybody prefers he shoots here, but Quickly draws the defender. Quickly gets 2 defenders, kicks out to Barrett. Open three, yes. So, again, you usually don't like Manuel Quickly shot faking there unless he's going to draw the defender and he's going to fake out the defender, which he does to Kobe White. White's not, I guess he's okay defensively. He quickly drew the defense, 2 defenders, which leaves R.J. Barrett open in the corner, kicks him out.
High IQ.
So I think this is going to be the Sims block. Dragic here against Miles McBride. Here comes a screen from Drummond. You got Dragic kicking out. This is to Kobe White. Quickly falls for it and loses his footing a little bit. McBride comes in. Good defense by McBride. Now, Donald, I sent you the video. I'm not sure if you watched all of it. They've been better switching defensively. It's just like something changed with the Knicks. It's not like it happened overnight, but again, the regain of their defensive identity has been there. So we're going to watch this clean switch again. Very good by Miles McBride. He's not fouling him. He's playing hands-up defense. Bulls wanted to foul. They didn't get it, but White, you could argue, ultimately fouled McBride. So here we go. McBride just plays hands-up, fundamental defense. His feet are set. So good job there. Here we go. Another offensive set. Grimes in the corner. McBride in the paint. Sims to the left. Hartenstein with the screen for Quickly. Quickly gets around the screen. Hartenstein is not too open. Quickly draws the defenders again. Kicks out to McBride for 3. Again, another
swish
of where Quickly is drawing the defense. Quickly is twitchy, where he could, make some moves a little bit. Maybe he twitches a little too much, one could argue. But this time he draws Caruso, and he draws another defender for the open 3. Let me just pull it back again, see the action. Quickly, here we go. Right against Caruso. Caruso, as I said, very good defender. Quickly drives, gathers Derek Jones Jr. and Alex Caruso. Kick out to Deuce. Deuce hits the open 3. Again, the problem, a lot of people say the problem with Deuce is he doesn't have a great offensive game, but I think that's in the works. So I've handled that. I think this, again, as I promised to how many times, I think this is the block by Sims. Caruso gets into the paint, kicks out to Dragic, out to DeRozan. Sims takes him up and gets the block in transition. Here comes Hartenstein and Quickly. Grimes, McBride, corner 3. Yes. Excellent team basketball right there. That second unit, very young and very quick-paced.
Bowman is much better in this 5-game winning streak.
I would say 100%. Here we go. Grimes gets stuck by the screen from Drummond. Sims has the mobility to take DeRozan one-on-one, and the shot is blocked. Hartenstein with the rebound, gives to Quickly once more. To Grimes, to McBride for 3. Yes. So another clip that I have, as I have my notes here, second quarter. Once as I said, Donald, Jalen Brunson made the paint penetrable once he came into the game. So awesome job. 6 points in the second quarter, 1 assist, and he also drew a reach and foul. Barrett had a transition bucket. Randall drew a shooting foul in the paint. But contrary to the Bulls' paint job of defense, Mitchell Robinson made it almost impenetrable. What do you have to say about that?
No, you're quite spot on.
So, you obviously have the Deuce McBride 3. Let's watch this clip right here. Bulls on defense. This is Mitchell Robinson. On ball D leads Caruso. This is great ball denial by the Knicks, first of all. So, Caruso gets around the screen for Vucevic. Brunson goes under the screen. Great ball denial from Robinson, preventing it from the shot quickly for the score. Watch that one more time. Here we go. Caruso, as you realize, trying to go up for the layup. He doesn't see the open option on his left. Up and under, can't really shoot it. Great denial there. Quickly up and under. So that's been pretty much that. Was very good note for the second quarter that the Knicks left off on. Unfortunately, Donald, the Knicks' third quarters always happen to be the most disastrous. So let me just find the third quarter. Here we go. Second half. So I've highlighted my notes as well. Let's go down here a little bit. Takeaways from the third quarter. The Knicks defense began to falter as the Bulls used some screens to adjust on offense. I thought the Bulls defense tightened the paint. We'll watch some of those adjustments. Turnovers, man, they became a problem. The Knicks turned over the ball at least 6 times. Brunson came up with a big 3 at the end of the quarter, and IQ inexplicably fouled Dragic. So we're going to go to the first. First of all, we're actually going to remove this clip right here. We're going to go to our bookmarks on Twitter. So I'm going to find the clip. Here's early offense from early on from the third quarter from the Knicks. I'm going to share 1 second. I'm just maneuvering, guys. Again, feel free, as a disclaimer while I'm searching this up, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. So, 1 second. All right. So, one more thing, and then we'll get to the key points. Barrett, kick out. Randall to Brunson for 3. Yes, early movement early on, so have to close out of that one. So, Knicks had a very bad third quarter. Moving on, Brunson came up with a 3. IQ fouled inexplicably. To the fourth quarter, RJ Barrett fouled out, unfortunately. Tibbs used a challenge inexplicably. Turnovers hurt again. RJ flopped. RJ was not great. RJ fouled out, as I said. Jalen Brunson came up big in overtime. So with that, we're going to show you some of his key buckets. First, we're all going to watch and see as Jalen Brunson drops Alex Caruso. Brunson one-on-one.
It's not coming up on the screen, man.
Oh, my apologies. Brunson one-on-one. Smooth.
That was sick. That was sick. He had him on toast right there.
I mean, what else can you say? Brunson. And it's funny because Mike Breen just mentioned that all the fans were heading for the exits. And maybe they just didn't want to see Brunson cross up Alex Caruso. So I'm going to try to find some of the buckets that were late in the fourth quarter, or at least towards the end of the game. Just give me 1 second.
What up, Jacob?
What's going on, guys? Obviously, the ISO possessions hurt, but Brunson, here we go. Let me see. Here's a key bucket.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate the comment. Second half. As I said, I have all prepared this film. Nope. Wrong file. Again, the guys like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Damn it. Second quarter. Try to find this second half thing. It's so confusing. All right. Here we go. Now it's the second half. This was the transition bucket. I'm trying to find that. Here we go. Here's RJ Barrett with the key bucket. Makes it a 2-point game. Now, this is Matador defense by RJ Barrett. This was basically a microcosm of what happened. So we try to. All right, 219. Brunson down the stretch gives to Randall. Randall, 1-on-1, taken up by the defense. Here's another key bucket, as I said. Grimes cuts Brunson into Barrett. Barrett inside for the tough finish. Now, we've criticized his finishing over the year, but very good find there. Brunson kicks out. Grimes, 3, yes. Very key 3 there. Going to remove this once again. And we highlighted as well. That was pretty much the game. Brunson, we obviously showed the tough layup, Brunson crossover, but in all, Donald, a very good game. It was well played by the Knicks. Now they have the Bulls again tonight. So now we're going to hand out our player grades. So we got to start with Jalen Brunson. What do you give him?
For the year or for the week or for the game?
For the game.
For the game, well, I think he deserves an A. 30 points, 7 assists. He's getting an 8 from me.
Yeah, I think he started out 0 for 3 from the game, but just he has that resiliency inside him. So just awesome stuff from Brunson. Give him an A as well. He's effectively Donald the Knicks closer. There's no question. I think every time you have the ball down the stretch and you need a bucket, Brunson is there. He's been awesome. Nothing short of an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, we've got Quentin Grimes. What are you giving Grimes? I thought he had a very solid effort on D, but
oh yeah, he was so important, and he hit all the clutch threes. I'm giving him an A.
I think he also had 4 fouls during the game. I'm going to give him an A minus. A minus. Okay. Moving on, we have RJ Barrett. What do you give him? I thought he had a very solid game, so I'm going to give him.
But then he fouled out. Yeah,
he fouled out, so you could probably say a B.
I'm giving him a B.
Yeah, so have that. Julius Randle.
31 points, 13 boards, 7 assists. On paper, that's like A+ stuff. But then the fourth quarter, some of the decision making wasn't great. I think A- is solid for Julius Randle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say A- as well. We mentioned it with the film stuff. Constantly kicking out of double teams, and that's something that has been very anti-Randle for the past year or so. Always getting caught in those double teams, ending up in turnovers. So, and next up, Mitchell Robinson. He had a very good game on the boards. Did give up some points to Vucevic, but he was very key when the Knicks needed him.
Yeah, they did. They did outscore us in the paint considerably. So that's a little bit on Mitch, but the 10 boards and some clutch offensive rebounds. He's still good on the offensive glass. I think a B would probably suffice. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pull up the scoreboard. 10 rebounds from Mitchell Robinson, 8 points, 4 offensive rebounds. Again, very key against Vucevic. We said the paint is penetrable and the paint's basically at risk whenever the Bulls are defending it. They just don't have a lot of defense there. So moving on, we've got, let's see, Manuel Quickly. What do you give him? I thought I was going to give him, I bet a B-. I was so on him.
9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 35 minutes. Yeah, I think a B- is pretty. That's it's not tremendous stats for 35 minutes.
Yeah, as I mentioned, he had some rash decisions, some turnovers, a lot of indecision, which has basically been the bad side of his career and what he is as a player. Obviously, a lot of people say he's not the true point guard, but as I said, when we talked about the second quarter, he was key because he held the Knicks in control. They were in control defensively. They were in control offensively because of him. And the Knicks went on a run, and then they closed out the quarter very well. Moving to Miles McBride.
I think he had a great game on defense. So I think a B+ for Miles McBride.
Yeah, B+. I mean, you're not gonna get a lot of offense with Deuce. He was a +7 in the box score. Defense. I'm gonna go B plus as well. Moving on, we have Isaiah Hartenstein. I think I'm gonna give him a D. He was not good at all.
Okay. 16 minutes. 8 rebounds isn't too bad. 6 points isn't awful. I think he still gets a passing grade. I'm going to give him a C minus.
Right. I could see why, definitely, but it just seemed like his immobility was exposed at times for the Chicago offense. We obviously brought up the Patrick Williams and one, which Hartenstein allowed. And obviously, he's prone to that. He's not the greatest defensive rebounder. He has, again, in the
No,
box
he's not. He's definitely not.
In the box score, he has more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. He has 5 offensive rebounds, 3 defensive rebounds, 8 total in the game. But again, he's also, in my opinion, I still hold this opinion. I don't think his true strengths of him being on the top of the post, the high post actually, are being properly utilized. He actually gets the benefit of the doubt from the box score guys, +1 on the net rating. So very fortunate. How about Jericho Sims?
He only played 8 minutes, so you can't really judge. What I will say, though, is I think he should be getting Hartenstein's minutes. I like Hartenstein. I just don't think this is the right system for him. I don't think that the way they utilize him suits his strengths. He wants to be in the high post. He wants to pass. He's a very good passer of the ball, but we don't really see it because we don't really do enough screen and rolls. We don't really do the kind of offense which he's accustomed to. He's used to. He was in LA, for instance. That's when in the Clippers, he was very useful for the Clippers, but we kind of play different ways. So I would look to investigate a trade for him and give the minutes to Jericho.
Yeah, definitely. I know we've talked about it multiple times. Like, the Knicks are a very rigid offense. They're a high efficiency offense, but they're very rigid. There's not a ton of off ball action, as we've highlighted. There's only so many cutters on this team. The coach, Tom Thibodeau, doesn't have like an open playbook where you could have guys at different, positions and different sets. So overall, I think his time is coming up. So we'll see how the Knicks, where the Knicks send him to. Obviously, Golden State would probably be ideal, possibly. We got to see what's going on there.
Well, yesterday is officially the opening day for veteran contracts who were signed in the offseason to be moved. So I don't see a ton of trades happening right now, but I think you could see possibly him being used. I think he'd be useful in Golden State. They lack size. They need a little bit of rebounding, and they like guys that can set screens and dish and hit threes. And I think Hartenstein would fit that. I think he would suit Golden State, in my opinion. Let's get to. So we've obviously covered the game. Right. Let's cover our seasonal grades thus far.
Okay,
we were a quarter of the season through, so we're gonna just stick with the same rotation. I'm gonna give Evan Fournier an F, for instance. I think we can all settle on that. Derrick Rose, what would you give him briefly?
I'll give him a C minus.
Yeah, I think a C minus is pretty fair. Okay. Let's start with Julius Randle. How would you grade him this year?
I'm going to give him a solid B.
Solid B? I think you could probably argue that he deserves more than that. So let's see. He's averaging 22.6 points per game, 46% from the field, just under 9 rebounds, just under 4 assists. His efficiency has gone up because his usage is down. I think you could argue, considering how hot he's been over the last 10 games, he's averaging 26 points a game and 9 rebounds and just under 5 assists. 35% from 3, 45% from the field. I think that you could argue that he deserves slightly better than a B. So I would give him an A minus. I think he's been excellent this year. Why would you just give him a B? Is there something that I'm missing?
No, I think first part of the season was what is very much like a C for me, and then it's only to me it's only going to get better because of how the way the Knicks are playing. He's again, as you said, Donald, in the opening, he's really good when he plays in the flow of the offense. When it's just ISO, it's not good, and we've seen that from time to time again, especially yesterday. But again, that grade's going to continue to grow for me. I think he's been very good this year. Now let me ask this. Besides Brunson, do you think Randall's due for another All-Star appearance?
I'm not going to jump there yet, but
okay.
If you look at the candidates, there's not a great amount of power forwards that can do what Randall's done so far this year. So he's certainly in the conversation. I certainly wouldn't dismiss it. Let's get to RJ.
I was actually going to include a relevant stat for you. This is for Julius Randle. This is as of December 15th, yesterday. Here's his shot diet from the last three seasons.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, now there's mid-range and there's also long mid-range from 14 feet out to the 3-point line. From 2020 to 2021, it was 23%. From 2021 to 2022, it was 23% as well. Stayed the same. But his long mid-range shots this year have declined 14%. He's only shooting them 9%, which is very good because we've always said his strength is bully ball down in the paint.
Yes, he's now just shooting the open three, and his percentage has gone up. Definitely. Especially lately, over the last 10 games, he's shooting 35% from three. If you get that from Julius Randle, you take it every day.
His percentage of field goals from the mid-range was 50% in 2021, 40% in 2022. Now it's 30%. So he is taking what the defense gives him, and he's sticking to what his strengths are. And I think that's very important for how better of a player he's been this year.
Yeah. So are you moving up on the B, or are you happy with B?
With that, I'm going to stick with a B+.
Okay, B+ now. Okay. So I've moved you up to a B+. Okay. A minus, B+. I'm pretty good with that. Okay, RJ Barrett. Interesting, because his stats are not awful. 19 points, 5.6 rebounds, but just 41% from the field. It's getting better over his last 10 games. 42%, 35% from three, 80% from free throw range, just about 7 rebounds, 20 points per game over his last 10. However, in the regular season, it's 41% from the field, 30% from three, 19 points per game, almost 2.5 turnovers a game, which is far too many.
Right.
RJ Barrett, how would you grade him this year? Because this is going to be interesting.
Oh, boy. He's been better in the last few games. He's been solid, but it's just a very poor start to the season. Like everybody says, oh, well, it's his yearly slump. It's beginning of the season. He does this every year. He was sick for a bit. I'm going to give him a C. He's disappointed me.
That's fairly generous. Prior to his last 10 games, I'd give him an F, quite honestly, because we saw how he was the least efficient player in the NBA with the amount of minutes he commands and the amount of shots that he takes. However, he has gotten better over the last 10 games. So I will still give him a D. I think he's played below average defense over the piece, and you can't shoot 40% from the field, especially not at this stage. Like, especially the amount of shots that he takes, in my opinion, far too many shots. There's things about RJ Barrett's game which needs to improve. Of course, he needs to improve better moves when he gets into the paint. He's just relying on his strength. He needs to develop a better Euro step. He needs to develop a little bit of better creativity. His footwork's terrible, and I don't like his handles. I think his handles are terrible. He just dribbles with one hand mostly. And he only finishes with one hand as well. So he looks a little clunky to me. So I'd like to see that stuff get better.
You know where I think he can learn that footwork from? His point guard.
Who? And on that note, let's move on to Jalen Brunson. So I've given him a D. You're giving him a C, which is pretty fair. Jalen Brunson, my man, 20.4 points per game, 6.3 assists, 47% from the field. And for the year, he is 33%, but from three, but actually 40% over his last 10. I'm giving him an A. I think that he has been a revelation for us. He's been everything that we've been asking that we needed at the point guard position. I would even say that he's easily the best point guard that we've had since Stephon Marbury. And considering he's actually helping us get on the win column, he's actually probably more valuable than Stephon Marbury, because I loved Stephon, but he did not help us in the win column. So Brunson's helping us in the win column. So I think that he is the best point guard that we've had in about 20 years.
Donald, MH said earlier, Donald better show RJ some respect, but I don't know. If you're MH, if you're still here, if you're grading RJ out to be a B, that's incredibly generous.
Oh, no, he's not a B. That's just looking at the stats. Come on.
No, see, the thing is, if you're looking at the stats, you're just not giving him a B either. You're giving him like a C, like I did. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at what I've seen on the games. But again, for me, Brunson, I gotta agree with you. A, he's been, as you said he's been a revelation. I think he's kind of exceeded my expectations. But the fact that he might be the Knicks' best player, maybe possibly second as well. I mean, there were a lot of casuals out there that were saying, "Oh, we overpaid Brunson. We did this, we did that," but he's been awesome, man. I can't complain about Brunson. I literally can't. He's clutch in crunch time. He hits his threes. He's very twitchy in the paint. He does a very good job of penetrating and kicking out. Is he the best point guard in the NBA? No, but I think he's well damn worth the money.
He's the best point guard that we've had in about 2 decades, so that's more than enough for me. We've so desperately needed a starting caliber point guard. Got that from Brunson. You know what I love about Brunson? He was in a walking boot 48 hours prior to that Bulls game.
Yes.
He was in a freaking walking boot. And apologies for that. He gets off the walking boot and he still puts up 30 points and 7 assists. That is some wild stuff right there. That guy's got a heart of a lion. So he gives you work rate. He gives it every single day. That's the kind of guy that you need in New York. And I think New Yorkers, the fan base must get behind this guy. I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything like that, but I think he's an all-star this year, in my opinion.
I mean, who else could you really say is like ahead of him in the all-star race? I mean, some people might say Kyrie Irving or whoever, but he's got to be up there, man. You can't possibly just snub Jalen Brunson like that. He was, even without, like, people got to notice this too, even without Luca in the playoffs, he was a star. He was. He kept Dallas alive. He so kept Dallas alive. But continue down.
Okay. So I'm giving Brunson. So we've given Brunson an A each. That's fine. Let's move on to Quentin Grimes.
I'm going to go B+. I think his shot at first needed time to get in, but now he's hitting his shots and he's playing defense. And he's been clearly one of the team's best. He's obviously one of the best defensive players on the team. And that alone has just changed the team. It's now identity is defense. It's not like, there's everybody's getting confused on defense. The communication has improved. A lot of things have improved, and Grimes being that starting lineup, which we've called it, Donald. We said from the start of the year, if Grimes is healthy, he has to be the starting shooting guard next to R.J. Barrett. And unfortunately, he wasn't. He was not healthy for the first part of the year. It was Fournier, then Reddish, and Grimes has been the savior for the defensive issues, as well as Miles McBride as well.
Do you know how valuable a 50-40-90 guy is? Extremely valuable. Incredibly valuable. Over the last 10 games, Quentin Grimes has been that. 50% from the field, 40% from three, 87.5% from free throw range. Plus, he's giving you just under 5 rebounds and 2 assists and 10 points per game. If he takes more shots, that points per game number shoots right up. That's why I'm not looking too deeply in RJ Barrett's 19 points per game, for instance. That's that 19 is
he takes a lot of shots.
Hell of a lot more shots. And Quentin Grimes picks his spots better. His movement off the ball is better. He's fantastic at getting himself open. If you watch the tape, man, his movement off the ball is very similar to the way the Golden State Warriors like to play. He's constantly moving, constantly setting screens, constantly getting himself open at the perimeter. Now you're seeing why the Knicks were so desperate to keep a hold of him in the Donovan Mitchell talks. And now that we're seeing him fully healthy, I can completely understand why. So I'm giving him a B+ because he is the key to this turnaround so far.
He adds so much value as a young player.
Yeah, no, he really does.
On this team with a lot of young guys, he adds so much value.
Miles McBride.
I'm going to give him a solid B. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with McBride. It's just, he's a role player for your defense.
Yeah, I think that's a fair grade. I don't think there's any point going through his stats. He's not really a stats guy. A lot of the good work he does is not on the stat sheet. He just plays awesome on-ball defense. Let's move on to Emmanuel quickly.
Okay. I'm lingering between a B and a B-. There have been some spots this year where he's been very good. There's been some spots where he's been very bad. So I'm going to go. B-.
He needs to shoot better from 3.
Yes.
So for the year, 31.2%. Over the last 10 games, 31%. So this is kind of where he is as a 3-point shooter. He's a 30-point shooter from 3-point range. I think he can be better at that if he actually picks his spots better. 44% from the field over his last 10 games. Overall, 10 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 40% from the field. For a guy off the bench, it's pretty good. Around about 4 rebounds. That's okay. I think considering the fact that he's available every game, doesn't get hurt, he plays big minutes, and he's the change of pace guy that we need. Plus, he's been one of our best defenders. There's no doubt about it. So with that, I'm not going to give him a B-. I think that'd be unfair on him. I think a B is probably a little fair for our man Quick. And then that moves us swiftly on to our next guy, and that shall be Mitchell Robinson.
Hold on a second. Can I quickly change my IQ grade? I just noticed that he's the NBA's leading defensive rating leader at 101.9. I'm going to change it.
There we go.
BB+.
Yep.
So it's only fair. I apologize, IQ. Please prove me wrong.
Mitchell Robinson.
Solid B. I mean, you're going to get your offensive rebounds. You're going to get your blocks. The paint's pretty much well protected under him, but we've not really seen improvement in the free throws. That's pretty much, that's pretty much what's going to happen. You're going to get your blocks. You're going to get your defense in the paint, you're going to get your offensive rebounds. You're not going to get anything else.
Yeah, so he's giving you 2 blocks a game, just under 7.4 points, 8.2 rebounds, 71% from the field.
Right.
But 45% from the free throw line, which is terrible. He's never improved his shot or anything like that, and he's not any threat in terms of passing. So yeah, I think it'd be, I think a generous B for 7 points, 8 rebounds. I think a B is pretty fair. However, he is very important to the good things that we do. Obi Toppin.
Well, very good start to the season. Fell off a little bit
Yeah.
and unfortunately got injured. So, if I'm giving Emmanuel quickly a B plus B, I'm going to give Obi Toppin a B minus because I think he kind of fell off. And I watched that one video with all the magnifying the Knicks' defensive issues. He was in a lot of them, and he was responsible for a lot of bad plays.
Yeah, I think a B minus is very fair. I would have given him a B plus prior to hit the slump that he's been in. And let's be fair, it's been a pretty mega slump. But he's only playing 14.9 minutes per game over his last 10 games. 17 points is not really any time to really have much of an impact in a game at all.
Right.
That said, he's only giving you 42% from the field, 7.7 points. To be honest, this situation that will be Toppin, it's not his fault. It's not his doing.
Right.
He's the only guy in the first round. I think in the first 15 to 20 picks, he is the player with the least minutes, or the player with the second least minutes over pretty much most of the first round of the draft, and that pretty much tells you your story. Like, I don't understand the Knicks' plan with Obi Toppin. When Obi Toppin plays, he's fantastic in transition. He's exciting. He's athletic. But the Knicks are underutilizing him. They're not using him in the right way. They're sticking him as a 3-and-D guy. He's like a corner perimeter shooter, and that's not making use of his assets. So don't understand it. In general, this is a mess, but B minus I think is very fair. I hope he gets back from injury very quickly, but when you got Julius Randle ahead of you, I don't understand quite what their thinking was with regards to his plan. Jericho Sims.
I think he's been very good in light minutes this year. I'm going to give him a B.
Yeah, 54% from the field. I'll take that. 7 rebounds, average over the regular season is great. I love Jericho Sims. When we gave him increased minutes, he balled out, in my opinion. So yeah, I think a B is very fair. I think he'd even get more than that if we actually gave him Hartenstein's minutes, and that leads us to Isaiah Hartenstein.
I'm going to give him a C+. I really thought that the Knicks would utilize his tools offensively. Sure, he's got the hook shot, well, actually the little floater, but they just use him kind of like, I don't know, they kind of use him like a rim protector I don't know if I would say that. They just use him as an offensive rebounder in the paint. They don't really stick him out to the three-point line too often. Yes, he made a 3 yesterday, but they don't utilize him to his true strength. That's not something I'm going to blame him for, but I'm going to blame him for the lack of defensive rebounding, which allows these opponent to get the second chance opportunities, and I'm also going to blame him for being slow on some plays. He doesn't have great mobility. So, C+.
I think that's actually generous for him because for me, I'm giving him a D.
Okay.
He had one great game against Charlotte. He was 100% from the field, and he had 8 boards and 2 assists and 2 blocks. 11 points in 18 minutes. Overall, for me, he's getting cooked on defense, and he's not a good defensive rebounder. It's all in the offensive glass. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's being used the way that he's comfortable with, and I think he's still trying to find himself. I know that he had a foot injury, which obviously accounted for his slow footwork, but overall, I think a D is probably kind of what he deserves right now.
That's fair. Very fair grade.
I think that pretty much covers us. We haven't really covered Cam Reddish. I don't really know what to say about Cam Reddish. I like him. I don't quite understand the situation that we're in.
I kind of understand why he was benched. Okay. I do understand watching the deep. I mean, I obviously didn't clip it because I didn't really have time to. But if you watch the video I sent you, Donald, he's another one whose defensive issues are so magnified. Because we thought, getting him, he would be such a good defender, but he's just, with a lot of off-ball action, these teams are running against him, he just falls asleep.
Right. I understand that. Overall for the year, 45% from the field, 30% from three, 87.9 from free throw range is pretty good. 84.4 points. But he was absolutely awful in the Dallas game, and that pretty much ended his season as a Knick. 3 turnovers in 9 minutes, 0 points. What would you grade him?
I'm gonna put him in the same category as Isaiah Hartenstein. I'm gonna give him a C+.
Yeah, I think a C. Yeah, I think a C. I like him. It's a shame what's happened, but as you say, it's no coincidence that since he's been out of the team, we've started winning. So Tibbs, I think Tibbs is interesting. How would you grade Tibbs?
Okay, he hasn't completely disappointed me yet. Well, there are things he's upset me with. There's things he's not upset me with. I will give him credit, though. Giving Miles McBride those minutes and shortening the rotation, trying out the small ball lineups at the beginning of the year, I'm going to give him, in 15 and 13 right now, this team not completely collapsing, I'm going to give him a solid B, honestly.
I agree.
And I'm not honestly, too high on him, but I'm going to give credit for what, the adjustments he made with the rotation, placing Derrick Rose out of it, placing Evan. It's like he collectively himself chose this team's direction. We're going to play hard-nosed defense with the young kids. Obviously, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are exempt because they're not technically kids. They're veterans. But these kids, we drafted Deuce McBride and Quentin Grimes to be my type of players, as in Tom Thibodeau type of players. Defense, hard-nosed, grit and grind. Jericho Sims is also that too. We're going to play our style, and we're going to choose our own identity. And our own identity is defense. And here's a stat. Through the last 10 games, this is the efficiency landscape brought by ESPN's Kurt Goldsberry. The Knicks are second in net rating, third in defense, and number 9 in offense.
It's been all about the last 10 games. We've been so much better. We're a 5-game winning streak, and we've just generally been a lot better lately. And I think a lot of it comes down to shortening that rotation. We've just been a better focus on the team. What I like about Tibbs' year is that, well, first of all, I think the team was about to spiral prior to the West Coast trip. But that West Coast trip saved the season in many ways. We had a really good West Coast trip. We got some big wins when we needed to, played very well, and came out with a winning record on the West Coast trip where nobody gave us a chance to even win one game. We won the majority of them. So once we did that, then we started to struggle again at home. But then that's when Tibbs was like, you know what? We need to readjust things. Let's sort out the rotations. The rotations he's not happy with. He wants to get more defense in there since that's come in with 1-5 straight. So It's been better. It's been better. He's tried to get the younger guys involved a lot better. He's been a lot quicker to move off of guys. He's not just obsessing over one dude.
Right.
It just seems to be a slightly fair. It seems to be a better, more meritocracy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, I think it's starting to pay off. I mean, listen, we're 15-13. We're in the 6th seed right now. You would take that any day because this is still a team that is still a little bit above average. Yeah, they're a slightly above average team, but they've picked a direction, as you said, and that's the only thing that I was looking for. I was like, okay, didn't get our superstar. If we're not going to get our superstar, we need to have a plan, and the only plan that makes sense is to give the kind of minutes that we need to give to our younger guys in order to have an idea of where we're going moving forward. And now that we're doing that, it's not a coincidence that we won 5 straight. So that is our season grades to this point.
There were multiple.
Let's move on to.
I was going to say there were multiple There were multiple times that this season could have spiraled off. We talked about obviously the West Coast trip. We talked about the Dallas game. We talked about the Hawks. The Hawks game earlier on was horrible, but he's gotten control of this team, and you got to give him credit.
Yeah. So let's move on to our preview of tonight's game. It's coming up very soon. So, what are your thoughts?
Try to get quickly. I'm going to give a little prediction. I don't think the Knicks will take this one. I think they'll split with the Bulls. The Bulls they're a decently built team, but I think the Knicks need to continue penetrate. I'll give my keys real quick. Knicks need to penetrate, move the ball, play defense, shut down DeMar DeRozan, because DeRozan drew a lot of fouls, and they got to play disciplined defense. So if I have to outline it, disciplined defense, move the ball, protect the paint, and penetrate in the paint.
It's all about penetrating the paint. I'd like to get our I think our big advantage is second chance opportunities and rebounding. I also like to say that I think this is a great matchup for Julius Randle again. He can do as much damage as he wants down there. So I'm looking for another good night from Julius Randle. Caruso is really the only guy that scares me on defense. So, again, I like our matchup against the Bulls. I think the Bulls are struggling with the direction right now, and I think the way that the Knicks are playing right now, where they're focusing on defense, the Bulls just don't have. They just got Caruso, and as you say, Williams, but it doesn't. They don't really make me unduly concerned because I think we match up well. So I'm going to give us a win in this game. Right. I say 105-99, something like that.
That's fair. I don't think this one's going overtime, obviously, but
yeah,
I'm going to say this. First bucket is going to go to Julius Randle. I'm sure you'd concur. First Knicks bucket. Julius Randle. I'm going to give the first Knicks bucket to RJ Barrett. All right. Let RJ get in control. So.
Getting RJ Barrett. I'm giving that as a shout out to MH, considering he wanted me to be kinder to RJ Barrett. Hence, RJ Barrett it is.
Yeah, definitely. So I put up I'm not sure I say a comment. I have a little question on Facebook. I did this in some Knick groups. If you want, I could just roll through some comments.
Yeah, go for it.
On it. So I said, Knicks fans, we're riding high on a 5-game win streak. What are your thoughts on some of your questions on how this team is playing? So one of the Leslie Bernard says B+. They're doing what's asked of them for the most part. The coaching staff B+. The coaching staff needs to revamp the offense. Still a little too stagnant and reliant on on ISO play, and still have to rein in Julius Randle's desire to dominate the ball. Regardless of how much he's scoring, they will win their fair share of games on the strength of defense and scoring. But when it counts most, the team will, as a whole, hit a ceiling if that's the way the offense continues to play. Your thoughts on that comment real quick?
I think it's a very fair comment, actually. I like it. I do agree that a B+ is a fair overall grade. I think things are changing. because if you asked the same question, say 7 or 8 games ago, I would have a different answer for you. But with the 5-game winning streak and the fact that Thibodeau has changed the rotation, tried to fix some things, it shows that he's looking to change, and that is something that we've not normally given Thibodeau credit for. So I think he is worth. I think a B+ for the coaching staff is pretty fair, and for the team as a whole, I would still give them I would still think a B probably if I was being really honest. But
yeah, 2 more comments I'm going to read through, and then we'll end it off here. Another comment said, a lot can change in 3 weeks, as me and Donald just highlighted, where the season could have nearly spun out of control. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were ranting at the Dallas game, but that's regardless of the point. And somebody actually said, although we're having great successes, I still think center is the weakest position on this team.
That's interesting. I would say
they said.
I would say our weakness is actually small forward.
That's true. I mean, besides RJ Barrett, who do we have now? With the small forward question, I have to ask you this, Donald. The Knicks were in talks with the Rockets about Eric Gordon. Do you think he's that Derrick Rose guy? Yeah, exactly. You're saying no.
Not for me. If it was an Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets when there was James Harden and they were in the finals and he was having a very good year, then I would consider it. Not the Eric Gordon of now. He's older. He doesn't shoot well enough. He plays pretty good defense, but you need to do better. We need to do better than Eric Gordon. He's overpaid.
Yeah. The Rockets wanted a first-round pick from the Knicks, have backed out since. So, yeah, no way. No, I really... Gordon's only shooting 43% this year. So, if you want a real spark plug, you might have to go elsewhere. But this is kind of early, obviously, to say, do you think the Knicks get any reinforcements at the deadline? Like, to be just a part of the bench? You obviously mentioned the small forward hole.
Yeah, well, we are going to see a trade. Emmanuel quickly will definitely get moved, I think. I think they'll try and find a way to move on from Evan Fournier and probably Derrick Rose as well, to be fair to him. I'd like to see DeRozan in a situation where he'll get increased minutes, and I think he'd still be valuable off the bench. I think he'd look really good in a Laker uniform, for instance. Evan Fournier would be great to move off his contract for salary cap purposes. If we can just take on an expiring contract, that would do us wonders. But I certainly see a Cam Reddish trade happening. So I think Reddish is definitely going to get moved. So yeah, I think you're going to see an incremental move. I'd be surprised if we were able to make a major move. But I'd like to get some better 3-point shooting in this team. As part of the rotation, because this is still one of our weaknesses moving forward. So a two-way player that can defend the perimeter and hit his open shots. If we can get that for 20 minutes a game, I would bite your hand off for it. So that's what we should really be looking for right now. But that's what I'm saying. I think the wing is our weakness still, mostly because RJ Barrett has not been what we're paying him for. Right. We need better athleticism. We need better 3-point shooting from that spot. Obviously, we're not going to trade RJ Barrett, but I would like to see somebody just behind him that can give quality minutes off the bench.
Plus, if you view Deuce McBride as a rotation piece long term, you need somebody who can offset his offensive weaknesses or lack of offense. So that would be a great ask. I mean, we don't know who the Knicks could go after. I know Eric Gordon's, he's, again, only shooting 43% for the year, and this is somebody who could shoot a lot better in previous years. Like, his offensive rating is like 3 points lower than it was like years prior. So he's probably on the decline. I understand the need for a vet who could shoot, but Gordon, to me, is not my guy, not for a first-round pick. So with that, we are going to close it up for our first episode of the Friday Night Knicks Pod. Appreciate you guys coming out. Donald, final thoughts.
So just having a quick look at Eric Gordon. 12 points per game, 43%, 35%, 29 minutes. So, like 12 points against the Heat, 10 points against the Sun, 9 points. Nah, you can do better. 19 minutes against the Nuggets, just 2 points, over 3 from 3. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, it's not good. I think we need to get better. He's too old. He's too old, in my opinion. So, okay, let's final thoughts. I think things are getting better. Things are getting better. We're moving in a positive direction. Credit to Thibodeau, and credit to the Knicks for buckling, pulling their socks up and getting on with it, because there was a period here where we were lost. It was I think it was the very point was the Mavs game, which we called. They looked lost. They looked like a joke. But, you went to the game where they beat the Cavs. I didn't think that the way they played was sustainable, but the defense was. And the defense has been carrying on since then. So they've been playing better. And each game, I think they're actually looking better. I thought it was a big win on Wednesday. They closed out a game, which we're not very good at closing out games. We closed that game. Let's see if that continues the momentum, and if we can take the home game against the Bulls on Friday night next, we're in pretty good shape moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we talked about this early in the season, like, who would, like, the Knicks was, like, so bad to start the season, and we were like, who are we setting our eye on to actually, like, get us to watch these games? We already said Jalen Brunson. Brunson's been awesome, but the influx of young players with McBride and Grimes has really helped, and now they're watchable. Now they're a beneficial product. You had young guys winning, chosen direction, but guys, thank you for coming out. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Alex has said in the chat we're at 830 subscribers. We
That's
are
awesome.
70 away from 900. Could we get there prior to the end of this year? I think we can. So, time to wrap it up. We will see you all next Friday for another episode of the Friday Night Knicks pod. Peace.
Let's go Knicks.